It's almost 2 a.m. You're finally drifting off to sleep. Your body is calm. Your mind is quiet. Everything is fine. And then your brain leans over and whispers, "Hey, remember that thing you said back in high school?" Suddenly you're wide awake. Your face gets hot. You physically cringe under the blanket. Maybe you even make a little noise out loud. And the worst part? It happened years ago. Nobody else on Earth remembers it. The people who were actually there have completely forgotten. But your brain has lovingly kept this one moment in high definition, ready to play it back at the worst possible time. Here's what's strange. You can't remember what you studied for last week's meeting. You forget people's names 3 seconds after you hear them. But that one embarrassing thing from a decade ago? Perfect recall. Every detail. So why does your brain do this? Why does it delete the useful stuff and hold on to the moments that make you want to disappear? Today you'll find out exactly why embarrassing memories get burned in forever. And by the end, you'll know the one thing you're almost certainly doing that keeps them alive. Most people have a pretty simple answer for this. The common explanation goes like this. Embarrassing memories stick because they were emotionally painful. Something about the moment hurt, and your brain, being a little dramatic, decided to hang on to the pain. And the reason it keeps coming back is that you just haven't gotten over it yet. You haven't processed it. The feeling got buried instead of dealt with, so it leaks back out on its own, again and again, until you finally face it head on and let it go. That's the theory anyway. And if you're the kind of person who cringes at these memories a lot, the explanation gets even more personal. You're probably just sensitive, or anxious, or you overthink everything. Some people seem to breeze through life without a care, and you're the type who dwells. That's just your personality. So what's the fix everyone offers? You already know it. Just don't think about it. Stop living in the past. Time heals all wounds. Nobody even remembers, so get over it. Ask 10 different people, and you'll get some version of the same handful of answers. Push the thought away. Distract yourself. Stay busy. And eventually, if you stop feeding it attention, the memory fades on its own, like an old photo left in the sun. This all sounds completely reasonable. It fits what we feel. The memory is painful, so of course pain is why it sticks. And ignoring something usually does make it go away. If you stop poking a bruise, it heals. There's just one problem. Almost every part of this is wrong. The memory doesn't stick because it was painful. It isn't a sign that you're too sensitive. And that advice everyone gives you, the "just don't think about it" part, that's not the cure. As you're about to see, it might be the exact thing keeping the memory alive. So why do these memories get saved so deeply in the first place? It comes down to one simple fact about your brain. Nothing gets remembered better than things about you. Back in 1977, 3 researchers ran a now famous experiment. They showed people a list of words and asked them to think about each word in a different way. Some judged how the word looked, some judged how it sounded, and some were asked one specific question: does this word describe you? Later, everyone was tested on which words they remembered. It wasn't close. The people who asked, "Does this describe me?" remembered far more words than anyone else. This is called the self-reference effect. When you connect information to yourself, your brain files it in the deepest, most connected part of your memory. Think of your sense of self as the master folder on your computer, the one that's linked to everything else. Anything tagged, "This is about me," gets saved right there, with the strongest connections and the easiest path back. Now think about what an embarrassing moment really is. It's a moment where you looked bad in front of other people. That makes it about you as an experience can get. So of course your brain files it in the VIP section, right where you'll always be able to find it. But it goes deeper. In that embarrassing moment, you probably felt a spike of emotion. Your heart raced. Your face went red. You got a jolt of pure, "oh no." That feeling is doing a job. It's a signal. When you feel strong emotion, your body releases stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, and those hormones basically tell your brain, "This one matters. Save it hard." Decades of research by neuroscientist James McGaugh showed exactly this. The strength of a memory tends to match the strength of the emotion attached to it. Flat, boring moments fade. Emotionally charged moments get carved in. There's also a reason your brain treats a small social slip-up like a huge deal. Your brain has a built-in error detector. Every time you make a mistake, A part of your brain lights up and basically goes, "Wrong, don't do that again." And the bigger the mistake feels, the louder that signal gets. For humans, social mistakes feel enormous because for most of our history, being accepted by the group was a matter of survival. Getting laughed at or pushed out wasn't just awkward, it was dangerous. So your brain flags social errors as top priority, files them under important lessons, and tilts the scales a little more, because bad experiences tend to stick harder than good ones anyway. So far, so good. Your brain saved the memory deep, tagged it as emotional, and flagged it as a critical error. That explains why it's stored so well. But that's where the real mystery starts. Plenty of things get stored well. Why does this specific memory keep coming back, over and over, for years, when other memories quietly fade? Why won't it settle down? This is the part almost nobody knows. And it gets a little strange. First, remember that advice. Just don't think about it. There's a classic experiment where people were told, very simply, do not think about a white bear. Try it right now. Whatever you do, don't picture a white bear. Impossible, right? To make sure you're not thinking about the bear, part of your brain has to keep checking for the bear, which means it keeps bringing up the bear. Trying to suppress a thought forces your brain to monitor for it, and that monitoring keeps the thought alive. So every time you tell yourself, stop thinking about that embarrassing thing, a quiet part of your brain starts scanning for it and pulls it right back up to the surface. And second, there's something even stranger about how memory works. We used to think a memory was like a file you saved once and just reopened whenever you needed it. That's not what happens. In the year 2000, scientists discovered that every time you pull up a memory, it becomes editable again. For a short window, the memory goes soft, and whatever you feel while you're remembering it gets saved back into the memory itself. Then it resaves. Do you see what that means? Every single time that embarrassing moment pops into your head and you cringe, you're not just remembering it. You're re-recording it. You're saving a fresh copy, with fresh embarrassment attached, making it stronger and easier to reach next time. You've been practicing this memory. Every cringe is one more rep, so the memory was never stuck. All these years, without meaning to, you've been the one keeping it alive. You can see this playing out everywhere. Once you know the pattern to look for, picture the classic wave. Someone across the room lifts their hand, and you smile and wave back, big and friendly. Except, they weren't waving at you. They were waving at the person behind you. In that one instant, you get the full combo. It's about you. You feel the emotional jolt, and your brain screams, social error. Filed forever. 10 years later, doing the dishes, it floats back up. And every time it comes back and you wince, you save it again. Or the name mix-up. You call your teacher mom. You call your new boss by the wrong name in a meeting. You blank on someone's name at the exact second you're supposed to introduce them. A tiny moment, gone in a second for everyone else. For you, it goes straight into permanent storage. Or the reply all disaster. You meant to send that message to one person, and instead it went to the entire company. That cold wave of horror when you realize? That's the stress hormone hit, telling your brain to burn this one in. Or the tiniest one of all. The waiter sets down your food and says, enjoy your meal. And you smile and say, you too. It means nothing. The waiter has already walked away. Nobody on the planet is thinking about it. And yet, your brain carefully saves it, right next to the things that actually matter. Now for the contrast that really shows the effect. Think about something you once tried hard to remember. Facts for an exam. A presentation you rehearsed. A language you studied. Most of it just evaporated. But the time you mispronounced a word in front of the class in 4th grade? Crystal clear. Decades later. Tourage. Why the difference? The embarrassing memory wasn't more important than the homework. The real reason is that you never lay awake at 2 a.m. reliving your history assignments. You didn't cringe about them 100 times. But the embarrassing moment, you've replayed and re-recorded again and again, each time pressing it a little deeper. The exam facts faded because you left them alone. The cringe survived because you kept rehearsing it. Same brain, opposite outcome. And the whole difference was how often you pulled the memory back up and how you felt when you did. So what do you actually do about it? Now that you know the real mechanism, you can work with your brain instead of against it. First, And this is the big one. Stop trying to force the thought away. I know that feels backwards, but you just saw the white bear problem. Fighting the memory makes your brain monitor for it, which drags it right back. When an embarrassing memory shows up, don't panic and slam the door on it. Just let it sit there for a second. Notice it, without the wrestling match. When you stop fighting it, you stop feeding it. Second, use that editing window on purpose. Remember, every time the memory comes up, it goes soft and editable for a moment. And whatever you feel gets saved back in. So instead of cringing and pouring in more embarrassment, try to meet it calmly. You can even meet it with a bit of humor or kindness. Something like, yeah, that was awkward, and I completely survived it. You're not lying to yourself. You're just choosing which emotion gets re-recorded. Do that enough times, and you slowly overwrite the memory with a lighter version. You really are the editor of this thing. Third, check the spotlight. In the moment, it felt like everyone was staring, and everyone would remember forever. They weren't, and they don't. There's a great experiment where people were made to wear an embarrassing shirt, and then guess how many others had noticed. They wildly overestimated. Barely anyone clocked it. The truth is, other people are far too busy worrying about their own embarrassing moments to catalog yours. And fourth, reframe what the memory even is. That cringe is not proof that you're broken, or that people are secretly judging you. It's just your brain's error alarm. And it happens to be oversensitive. It's a smoke detector going off because you made toast. You can hear the alarm, understand why it's beeping, and calmly notice that nothing is actually on fire. One last thing, and it might change how you feel about every cringe memory you have. That embarrassing moment you can't let go of? The other people who were there almost certainly don't remember it. And it's not because they're kinder than you or have worse memories. It's the exact same machinery. Their brain, just like yours, is busy filing away their own most self-relevant moments. In fact, right around the time you embarrassed yourself, they were probably too focused on something slightly embarrassing they'd just done to even notice you. Which leads to a strange and kind of beautiful conclusion. Almost every awkward moment in history has left behind two people, walking away in opposite directions, each one completely convinced that they were the only fool in the room. You were never the only one. You were just the only one still keeping score. If you like pulling back the curtain on the weird things your brain does, you know where the subscribe button is.